Uh, I don't know what to really say, but I learned my lesson of being in jail, so I'm not perfect. And this is really not my fault. I didn't really do nothing wrong either. Like,
Oh, really?
no, well,
Let's focus on what I'm sentencing you for.
okay,
You gonna
okay.
tell me you did nothing wrong? On the record in state of Michigan versus Daryl Smith, 2402516FY.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matt Nagel for the people.
And good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer of the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Daryl Smith, who's standing to my left.
All right, and you are Daryl Smith? Okay, today is the date for a contempt hearing for a bond violation as well as preliminary exam. As for the contempt hearing, I guess the parties want to address that first.
Judge, I can address it. I have received the memo regarding the bond violation. My understanding is that the two bond violation allegations are that that he failed to report to pretrial services and that he essentially allowed his GPS tether to die for non-payment and he was not being electronically monitored. I would say that I have discussed these violations with Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith is prepared to tender a plea to those violations.
Okay. Mr. Smith, you are accused of violating the conditions of your bond. If that is true, you face possibility of contempt of court. Contempt of court is punishable by up to 93 days in jail and or $7,500 in fines consecutive to that which you already face. You have the right to have an attorney, Mr. Palmer, representing you. You have the right to have a trial where it must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you violated court order. You're not entitled to a jury at a contempt trial, only a judge, but they do have to prove that you were violating a court order. And Mr. Palmer kind of summed up the allegations of contempt, which were not reporting to pretrial services and not keeping your tether monitoring up. Mr. Smith, understanding the possible consequences of contempt, you understand your rights, and you wish to plead guilty? Can't hear you.
I said yes, ma'am.
She's recording you, and we have to get a record, and if you start mumbling,
My bad.
one, it doesn't change the outcome of what we're doing, and two, it makes it hard on her. Don't do that. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Smith, it's true that you were arraigned in this case. It looks like back on August 25th of 2024 by Judge Ward.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and she told you to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release from jail, so you could be kept track of on bond. Is that right? And did you ever report to pretrial services?
I lost the paper, honestly, but no, I did
So
not.
that's a no.
Yeah.
Okay. You also were fitted with a tether as ordered by Judge Ward from JSG. Is it true that you did not keep your tether charged so that we could keep track of you? Did anyone make any promises or threats to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty for your own free choice?
Yes, ma'am.
Find your guilty plea to be knowingly, voluntarily, accurately made with sufficient facts on the record upon which to base your plea. It's therefore accepted. Do the people wish to be heard on sentence?
Defer to the court, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer?
Your Honor, Mr. Smith has admitted to some wrongdoing this morning. I will point out, I anticipate that both Mr. Smith's files are about to be dismissed, the underlying matters. He has been in custody now, I think about 3 weeks, roughly. Certainly he understands that, as I say, he understands his wrongdoing. He's taken responsibility for that. Mr. Smith is facing some pretty significant medical issues. He was the victim of gun violence recently. He's, as the court may be able to see, he's got some significant scarring and medical issues going on with his left arm. I know that he desires to be back out and to receive the treatment that he's supposed to be having already. I will say my understanding is that and I do not present this as an excuse in any way, but my understanding with regards to the tether is that there was always a concern that he would be financially unable to pay for that tether.
That was not what his violation was, though.
Right, his tether was shut off, and I think it was shut off for non-payment.
I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, it was non-payment, but you know, there's grant funding for that if he just presents the documentation.
I understand, Judge, but he was trying to engage in certain services, particularly Social Security disability. because of these ongoing medical issues. Again, as I say, I'm not presenting that as an excuse, Your Honor. I'm just simply saying that's what happened. I would ask the court to consider time served, given that he's been in a few weeks now. If the court doesn't consider time served, I would ask for a short sentence so that Mr. Smith can return to the community and re-engage in the medical treatment that he desperately needs.
Mr. Smith, anything else you want to tell me before I sentence you?
Oh, I don't know what to really say, but I learned my lesson of being in jail, you know, so I'm not perfect. And this is really not my fault. I didn't really do nothing wrong either. Like,
Oh, really?
no, well,
Let's focus on what I'm sentencing you for.
Okay,
You gonna
okay.
tell me you did nothing wrong?
sorry about that.
Mr. Smith,
I
you have an
apologize.
obligation to follow court orders.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you think that what you're charged with is right or wrong, you have to follow the bond conditions so you can get to trial and your lawyer can show your side. But when you're disregarding the court orders and thumbing your nose at the bond, that's what I got a problem with. So,
No, I'll take full responsibility for that. I really did try to go to DHS and get my food stamps back on. And I should have came and turned myself in. And I was scared for the charges I was facing that I really did not do. But I take full responsibility and not, you know, coming together and taking responsibility for my bond being broken. So.
the sentence for contempt of court is 30 days jail with credit for the 19 you've served since you got picked up on the 23rd. As for the preliminary exam,
The necessary witnesses are not present for the preliminary exam, therefore the people are unable to proceed this morning, and I expect the test to make a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense moves to dismiss for lack of probable cause.
that's motion to dismiss is granted without prejudice. Smith, a couple things you need to know. Firstly, you still have to serve a contempt sentence before you'll be released. Secondly, I'll sign your dismissal today, but if the witness contacts the prosecutor, convinces them to reissue, that could happen within the statute of limitations. It also will take a little bit of time to get that no contact order out of the police computer, albeit it probably won't matter because you'll be serving a sentence, so you probably won't be able to make contact before we get that done because you'll be in jail a couple more days. Since I gave you jail for the contempt, you could appeal my sentence if you would like to appeal, and you need a public defender to assist you. You need to make your application within 14 days.